Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome to Citrus Park. We're glad you're here. Just a couple of quick announcements. The first is that I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that we stay connected as a church family. Connection is really, really important. And to that end, I've been trying to collect email addresses and cell phone numbers to make sure that you get updated on anything that's super important. We have tried to, for all the information that you've given us, we've tried to make sure that we send invites out to you to come something called Church Center. And that is an app, that is a website that you can go to. And if you click the link that we sent you, it'll take you to our online platform where you can update your information, your cell number if it's changed, a different email address. If you move, a different mailing address. You can put a photo of you or your family, your kids, whatever you want to do on there. And it allows you to stay connected to other people within the church family. So we want to make sure that you're aware of that. Again, there is an app that's available. And if you download the app, it'll use a combination of your cell phone number or your phone number and your email address, and it'll take you to that website, and you'll just select Citrus Park, and that's how it'll know that it's you as compared to other people. Also, too, coming up in a couple of weeks, beginning Wednesday night, February the 8th, we're starting women's small groups, men's small groups. Joy will be here next week to kind of go over the women's study, but it's called Abide by Jen Wilkin. And there'll be books available next week for you to go ahead and purchase and get involved in that. And so we're really excited about that. I know she's excited about teaching that. And then for the men, we've got a different study available. I'm going to be teaching that, and it's called Night Driving by Chad Bird. It's a newer book to me. It's a book that months ago I really wanted to teach and really wanted to delve into. I think you'll really like it. It's a really easy, accessible book. It's a great read. And I think you'll really get a lot out of that. So Jen Wilkins' Abide, and then for the men, Chad Bird's Night Driving. Again, we'll have books available next Sunday for you for whoever wants to jump in on that for Wednesday night, February the 8th, okay? And again, if anything has changed regarding your phone number, your mailing address, anything like that, you can give that to me and I can update that for you. Or again, what you can do is you can click the link that we sent you originally for Church Center and you can update that. Okay? Bless y'all. Thanks.
All right, cool. So to kick us off here today, I want to share something that we all have in common, and it starts actually, interestingly enough, it starts at an early age, and it has worked its way up. And by the way, if you have kids, Miss Mercy is going to take the kids right now to Kids Kingdom. So if you have kids, look in the back, send them on with Miss Mercy, and she'll take good care of them. So something we all have in common starts at an early age, and we kind of bring it up with us into adulthood. And so just get this in your mind if you can. When we have a need, okay, so we all have needs in our lives, and it starts at a young age, even though you might not think you need anything. Starts at an early age. When we have needs and someone else possesses that thing that we need, and then they share that thing with us, we feel so good about that. Like, doesn't anyone, you can raise your hand if you want, but when you have a need, like you're in need of something, and someone's like, oh, I got that. I'll share with you. Doesn't that make you feel good inside? Does that make you feel loved? We appreciate it when that happens, or we love it, or we at least like it when that happens. So if you want to picture yourself back as a toddler, when you were really little, and there was you and another toddler sitting there on the floor, and they had that toy, and you really wanted that toy, you thought you needed it, and the parent was like, hey, let's give this toy to this kid. The message was ingrained from childhood. It's sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. And as we grow up, the wording changes, but the message stays the same. So from toddler to kids, now you're a kid, and you're playing with Nerf guns and video games, and you're having to share a room sometimes, and you as a parent now have this ingrained, and you're teaching this to your kid, sharing is caring, but the words change sometimes. And so you're like, hey, hey, we want to make sure that we share our things with our brothers, with our sisters, with our friends, because it's good to do that when we share, because God loves that. God loves a cheerful giver. It's good to share. And then into teenage years. Hey, listen, honey, I know that you have a car this weekend, but your sister really needs to run some errands. It's very important. And I know that you were supposed to have it, but if you could just let her borrow the car for a few hours this weekend, it would be really, really good of you. Because Jesus loves it when we take the things that we have and just share them with other people. The wording changes, but the message stays the same, even into adulthood. Hey, listen, we have a new coworker, John. He's new to the office. We don't have a space for him yet, but we're going to just pool our collective things, like let's share some office equipment, let's share a chair for him until we get him set up. And if you were any of those people in any of those situations that you had someone like just give something to you, or not give, but share, like, yeah, I'll share this with you for now. You're like, man, thank you so much. And if you were like the person that was like sharing the item, whatever it was just like, what's the big deal? It's just a chair, it's just whatever. But if you were the person who received that, that is so important, because not only did it help you, not only did it make you feel good, not only did you appreciate it, but that person didn't know that you might have been at the brink of a breakdown. You might have been like at a crossing point to where, like, if this didn't come through, if something didn't happen for you, it was about to go downhill. So you're like, no. You showed up at the right time, at the perfect time, and you shared, and I am so grateful. Sharing is caring. I love that. We all love that idea until we have to be the ones to share. Right? We're like, sharing is caring. No, I'm sorry. If they don't have what they need, they didn't deserve it. They didn't work hard enough for it in life. They're too lazy. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not sharing from a kid up to adulthood. I'm not sharing my toys. I'm not sharing my room. I'm not sharing my car. It gets a little trickier into adulthood. I'm not sharing my money with you. I'm not sharing my valuable time. Are you serious? I work hard for my time. I'm not going to share that with you. I'm not going to share my house with you. Get real. And the problem is so important, so make sure you're listening. It's so important. The problem is when that happens, we feel like what we possess belongs to us because we think it's ours. So we have the right to do whatever we want with it. So if we want to share it, we can. If we don't have to. If we want to shelve it and forget we ever had it, we can do that because we think we own it. But when Jesus spoke, his message was like completely opposite. Right? If you read the New Testament, the Gospels, Jesus is always saying these words like give, share, help, support. And it's so difficult because what we have sometimes we think we own, but we don't. So here's why what we're about to talk about this morning is so important, and it's on the screen behind me. Here's why it's so important. If you want to throw that slide up there, Sophia. This is the reason it's so important. We all have something powerful inside of us that others need. We all have something, like each and every one of us who if you call yourself a Jesus follower, a believer, we all have something powerful inside of us that others need from us. More on that in a bit. So today we're in part 4 of our series, in the end, if you want to put that slide up behind me, in the end, what to believe and whom to follow. How to live and whom to follow. And our goal has been this whole time, for the past 3 weeks, our goal has been to get across the point that we all face endings in our lives, whether or not they're one-time endings or they're seasonal endings or they're joyous endings or they're life-altering endings. We all face endings in the world. They're inevitable. We all face them. And what the world does is the world pushes us, when we face endings, the world pushes us to close up and to hide and to run away and to focus on you, to focus on me, to focus on number one. Because the world says, hey, ain't no one going to support you. No one's looking out for you. You got to look out for yourself. So you better make sure you're taken care of. So when you're facing this ending, you better make sure you are set. Doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. You just better make sure you are good to go. And that's what the world does more and more, and we find this so often. Just a recap of 2022. I know you probably don't want to go back to 2022, but we will just for a minute. So many catastrophic events. I think according to the New York Times in 2022, there were over 600 mass shootings. Over 600. That's like almost 2 a day. 600 mass shootings. And then we mentioned, the Russia and Ukraine thing, and I don't know what side you're on, it doesn't really matter. I'm just stating that's what happened, right? It happened, and it was not good that it happened. And we have natural disasters that happen all the time. And then in our families, we have things that happen like siblings, the relationships get split apart, sons and daughters from their parents, parents from their parents and their kids, and just relationships that go awry, business partnerships that go awry, things that shouldn't happen, happen. Because endings happen all the time, and usually, sometimes they're not good, and we don't know what to do. And as Jesus followers, we tend to think when that happens, we're like, oh my gosh, every time something happens, we're like, if this doesn't bring Jesus back, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. Why is the world so bad? And there's a sense of an end in sight. There's a sense that it's like, it's so much easier. There's a pull to just be selfish instead of selfless. And we all feel that on one level or another. And as the days go on, we just tend to kind of like, you know what? I see an end in sight. It's coming. I see it at the light at the end of the tunnel. And whatever happens, happens. And what we do is we just want to turn the cruise on, slow down, and just say, I'm done. I'm done giving. I'm done loving. My family doesn't even deserve my love and forgiveness anymore. They take it for granted. I am done opening people up to my house to come and give and share whatever I have. I'm done loving. I'm done praying for people because obviously it's not working, so why pray anymore? I'm done. However, the truth is the total opposite, and that's the key we've been trying to drive. How to live. How do we live when the endings come, and whom do we follow? That is so important, because if we're following the world is saying, hey, you better slow down, just take it easy and chill out. But the truth is, we have to know whom to follow, and we all know here this morning that is Jesus. So, recap what we've been going through this past few weeks. If you want to throw that slide up, this is what we've been kind of showing you guys this past few weeks. So first, Pastor Dave talked about being alert and disciplined for prayer. The importance of needing to pray. Like, you have to be disciplined. It's not just laying in your bed at night, falling asleep. God, thank you. And no. We get, be disciplined and be alert. Pray like you've never prayed before. And then 2 weeks ago, Pastor Mike said, hey, above all else, above everything else in life, we must love. And that's so hard to do, especially with the people closest to us. And then last week, Pastor Dave talked about hospitality, and he was saying, hey, we don't have to be a doormat. Jesus didn't call us to be doormats and pushovers. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, allow your love to be stretched by my grace. Because in the end, we will need to pray. In the end, we will need to love. And in the end, we will need to show true hospitality for everyone around us. And for the rest of our time today, I want to talk about, again, the motive, the reason why it's so important that we all have something inside of us that others need. And we're going to be talking about the topic of spiritual gifts. And for some of you, you're like, oh, spiritual gifts, that's like mythical, and is that still around? And we're gonna cover all that, but I want to just talk about this topic for the next several minutes we have together. So first, very quickly, you might be asking, what are they? What is a spiritual gift? What does that look like? How does that look like in a life of a believer? And if you don't really know what they are, don't do this now, but later on, go to Romans 12, 1 Corinthians 12, and just read through what Paul says about that, because he explains in detail. He gives lists of spiritual gifts. But here's a quick definition on the screen behind me. This is just a quick synopsis, a paraphrase of what spiritual gifts are. It's a heavenly empowerment given to believers. And I'm not the smartest person in the room, so if you were to go and really dive in deep, you could probably get a much better definition. But this is, again, just like a short, real quick synopsis. It's a heavenly empowerment given to believers. And Paul said in 1 Corinthians, he said, hey, God gave us these spiritual gifts for the common good, or to help one another. And so here's a list of them, if you want to throw that slide up there. This is just a list of spiritual gifts. And some, as you're reading this, some might pop out to you, be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was considered a gift, a spiritual gift from God. But discernment, encouragement, faith, giving, healing, knowledge and leading, mercy, miracles, prophecy, service, teaching, tongues coupled with interpretation, and wisdom. You're like, wisdom's a gift? Yeah, it's a gift from God. True wisdom is. So this is just like a quick list. There's 15 of them up there. And this is a list that we can find in those two sections. And so what I want to do is just real quick talk about 3 lies that the enemy feeds us. 3 lies, and what happens is when, and you probably know this if you have kids or if you had kids, a lie forms out of maybe partial truth, right? But a half-truth is a whole lie. So when the enemy feeds you a lie, you take that, and if you listen to it enough, you start to believe it, and you start to live it out, and then those lies become excuses that we make in life. So what I want to do is just look at, very quickly, 3 lies that the enemy feeds us about spiritual gifts. So number one, it's up here. The first lie, it's hypothetical, right? I don't really have anything to offer, right? I got a low IQ, man. I'm not a people person. I don't have any real skills. Maybe you have spiritual gifts. Maybe that's true for you. That's your truth, but it's not for me. I don't really have any of that stuff. I don't believe in it. You can if you want to, but that's not for me. Or like I said before, this is like a mystical power. Maybe it was true like in the Bible, but it's not really around anymore. That's not really a thing. It doesn't really involve us. Or like, I don't even know what a spiritual gift was if it slapped me in the face. I really don't, Kyle. Like, I have no idea what that would even look like. So those are some lies about, it's hypothetical. Well, let's see what Peter says about this. So 1 Peter 4, verse 10. Peter says, just as each one. And if you look in the Greek, I'm going to blow your mind. But in the Greek, what this means is each one. Every believer. So if you call yourself a believer today, if you are a follower of Jesus, you have a or many spiritual gifts. You possess them inside of yourself. That is the something powerful inside of us that others need, a spiritual gift. We all possess them. This is not just kids. This is not just adults. This is not just men, not just women, not just people who are 55 and older who have experienced life more. It's not just for the spiritually mature or for those who seem to be more spiritually mature. It's every one of us. And then Peter goes on. He says, just as each one has received a gift, received We have all received something and a gift. And this terminology, this phrasing from Peter, it's very similar to how Paul was saying in Ephesians when he said, hey, you've been saved by grace through faith. It's not from yourselves. It's a gift from God so that no man can boast in himself. This is the same kind of idea. And these words, gift, in those two scriptures, that's like different words, but the message, the idea is the complete same. We have all received something from Jesus, a gift, charisma, a special gifting by God. So what does this mean? It means you can't work for them. Like you can't put in 12 hours a day and be like, all right, God, give me what I deserve. You can't do things for God like a transactional thing like, okay, God, I'm going to do this for you, and then you give me, I'm going to go subscribe to whatever spiritual gift I want, and can you just like send that my way with that? That's not how it works. God divinely and sovereignly just like gives us each individually gifts, special, unique gifts here. And how did you receive them? Well, it was by grace from God to you and to me. So that's the first lie. It's hypothetical. And Peter's like, no. It's not hypothetical. It's like the real deal. It's like totally real. You have them, and not only do you have them, you receive them as a gift. Like God gave that to you. So it's not hypothetical. Here we go. Lie number 2. Lie number 2. It's optional. I love this one. It's optional. I don't really have to do this if I don't want to. Listen, Kyle, you might have more time on your hands than I do, but listen, I am just so busy right now, and I've just got to really focus on me, and I just have to love myself and just, because no one else is going to do it. It's just, listen, and I know it's really good, and I hear you, what you're saying, but Kyle, you have no idea what's going on my schedule, what I have to do during the day. I can't get a moment to myself sometimes, and this is really not high on my priority list. So just please back off, but this is just not rising up there to the top. I just don't have time. I'm too busy. Let's see what Peter says about this. Keep going in verse 10. So just as each one has received a gift, use it. Use the gift. This was not just a good suggestion. This is not Peter saying, guys, it'd be really good to form this habit, 7 healthy tips for you to live at the end of life. This is just, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but this is just really good. If you want to, you can. Peter was saying, oh my goodness. Like other translations say, put it to work. Employ it. Use it well. Peter was saying, this is not optional, guys. This is the opposite of optional. We have received something, and we have to use it. And this term is, for those of you who are grammar scholars, which I am not, but this term is present active, and that might mean nothing, and that's fine. But what the idea of that it carries is that the Christians whom Peter was writing to, he was saying, this needs to be done presently, right now, and actively. Like you are doing the work, you are presently doing it, and it carries with it the idea there is no assessment as if there would ever be an end to the Christians doing it. It's active and it's present tense. There's no end in sight. So let's intersect that. This is how it intersects from then into your life and into my life. We are so busy. We are so busy. Sometimes it's on us, but sometimes it's just, that's what life is. We live so busy lives that we can't catch our breath. We get sick. We get sick for a very long time. Others, some more than others, with like really bad illnesses. And we have to, at some point in our life, say, I have to cut some things out because if I don't take care of my health, I'm not going to make it. And so please don't hear me that I'm trying to like get on your schedule, get on illness. That's not what this is about. But when we prioritize just stuff that we stack onto our schedule because we think we need to do. What happens is the busyness of our life, that lie, yeah, it's optional. Yeah, if you don't have to, just scratch it off. Just save some time, scratch it off the list, and it'll be okay. That lie that's optional, it overshadows the truth of your calling and of my calling to use something that we've been given that's so powerful. And what happens when we don't use it? We're going to miss out. We're going to miss out on something that God wants to do through you and through me. We're going to miss it. So that's lie number 2. It's optional. Lie number 3. It's personal. It's personal. Listen, my gifts are between me and God. I have wisdom, but I'm not sharing it. I can lead things, but I'm just going to take a back seat and, I'll lead a meeting between me and God when I want to. Kyle, I'm not going to, what will people say if I messed up or I did something that was like, I shouldn't have done that, or I don't really want the spotlight, Kyle. This is a really personal thing. Like, this is between me and God, and no one else sees that. Like, I don't want to be showcased. I don't want people look at me. This is for God anyway. So why are you getting on my case? Like, this is so personal. Peter continues, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others. Use it to serve. He's saying, don't listen to that lie that Satan feeds you, and then you make that into an excuse. You're like, listen, this is not like a public thing. Peter's saying, no, this is very public. This is like so public, it's so unreal, it's real. This is important. And this word serve, just think about okay, you've all been to restaurants, right? Ever been to a restaurant and you get back, they're like, how was the experience? You're like, service was terrible, right? You've all said that. Service was terrible, never going back there again. And that happens because, why? Well, the waiter or the waitress, on purpose or not, maybe they're understaffed, but they didn't come back to fill your cup. They didn't entice you to look at the dessert menu. They left your empty plates on the table. They were barely there, and you just kind of wanted to give no tip, actually write a tip. Here's a tip, be more helpful, right? And you're just kind of walking out. You're like, never go back there again. That is what happens when we don't get service. And what happens is that person really didn't truly serve you, right? They reluctantly accepted you. And you're sitting there going, might as well make dinner at home, I guess. I don't know. Takeout, I guess. Because what happens is they're like, whatever I can do to get to your table and get back to the kitchen, least time possible, least effort possible, least energy possible, I am getting away from you and back away. And again, this is where it intersects with your life and with my life. Because when we're called to wait on each other, to care for each other, and we say, listen, you can serve yourself. This is self-serving, okay? You can just do that by yourself, and I'm going to step out of the equation. We're not better than the people who push us and frustrate us at the restaurants and make us go online and leave those nasty comments like, terrible service, 0 stars, do not recommend. Why? Because it was like a job they're being forced to do. It's like, really, this is like a personal thing. I don't really want to do this for other people. It's not fun. And Peter says, no, it's not personal. It is so, so public. Use them every day. Like as you're walking out, you have a gift from God, like special empowerment. Use that gift. Oh my goodness. He's saying this is This is the epitome of public. You must use your gift because God places people in your life every day of the week. And that's why he put you on this earth. And if we take any more from Peter, Peter's really getting on our case, isn't he? Look at what he says. So use it to serve others, and then he goes on. Well, how do we use it to serve others? Use it as good stewards of the varied grace of God. In the first century, administrators, managers would be stewards of owners of the house. The owner of the house, if they could afford it, they would hire someone to do that, to take care of their house, to have the meals prepped, to have their clothes folded, to have the food prepped, take the kids to school, bring the kids back from school, do everything, have the pool service, like make sure the house is running in proper order. Because if the owner could have someone do that, they have important things to do, but they're the owner of the house. But they want to make sure that they hire someone, a really good administrator or manager, to take care of their possession. And if the administrator of that possession squandered their finances or stole or didn't pick the kids up from school or didn't make sure that the maids were making the beds and cleaning up after themselves and they were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, guess what? They got canned. And the owner of the house would say, you are not taking good care of what I have put in your possession. It's not yours. This is mine. And I've paid you. I've hired you to do a service, to do something, and you don't want to do it. So you're gone. Bring the next candidate in because they're going to be better than you are. That's what a steward was supposed to be in first century. So again, as I said, and I'm going to say this for the last time, but this is how it intersects with your life and with my life. As the owner of spiritual gifts, God has given us, he wants us to have that same mindset. He's like, you are a good steward. Use them well. Be a good steward for those around you. Use them and use them for others and be a good steward of it. Take care of it. Manage it well. Make sure you're administering this properly. It's not mine. It's not yours. It's not ours. Owner is God. And what he has done has given us, by grace, a responsibility that is so powerful if unleashed. It'd be so amazing. And here was maybe the turning point. As Peter's audience was reading through this letter, here was maybe the turning point with their audience. And possibly, maybe it's the turning point with you today, and talking about how endings are in sight, and there's always endings that come up. Here's the turning point, and this is so important. This is what we have to know about this. And it's that selflessness is greater than selfishness. Selflessness is so much greater. It is stronger. I don't care what the world tells you. Selflessness is stronger than selfishness. It outshines. It's more courageous. It works harder. It's the epitome of Jesus' heart. Selflessness is greater than selfishness. So here's what I encourage you to do today. And here's what God maybe wants you to do today. I'm going to set up with some context. We've had a lot of people in the church for many years. Like some of you have been around for many years, and we're so glad that you were here. We've had a handful of people that have been around for a handful of years, and we are so very glad that you were here. And some of you are like so brand new. You've been here for like weeks or maybe just like several months, and we are so glad that you're here, that you've called this church like your home. And it's not like a building, not like a home church where like I don't really show up, but I call it my home church for like tax records. But you call this home because your family's here. And these are the people that you reach out to during the week when you have something going on and you have struggles and you have highs and you have, You reach out to the people here in this body of believers because you know they love you and that they care for you, and you do the same for them. And so we love all of you, and we are so glad that all of you are here. But some of you are not sure, and I'll say this because of this. God gave a promise to Pastor Dave a long time ago, a geographical promise, really, that one day we would be at a specific location in a specific part of the Citrus Park community. And he gave that promise to Pastor Dave a long time ago. Pastor Dave has held on to that promise. And we as a leadership, as a pastoral leadership, we've come around that promise and we believe that promise. And we are taking the steps we believe to work towards that promise that God has given Pastor Dave a long time ago. Some of you are walking into this building. Sometimes you're like, is this a church or is this a school? What's going on? There's no steeple outside. It looks like a church in here, but then there's like classrooms and stuff. So what happened was 3 years ago, we sold this property to a school. And most of you know this, but I'll just give a recap. We sold this property to a school in response to the promise God gave us. And we closed the week of COVID. That was God's sovereign time. And we did that in faith, knowing God, one day, geographically, we're a church no matter where we are, but geographically, we're going to be in a different place. And so we're going to sell this building. And we've been renting from Plato. Plato is growing. They are growing so fast. We don't know, and I don't say this to scare you because I'm not scared, Pastor Dave's not scared, Pastor Mike's not scared, no one is scared. We're just telling you, we don't know if we'll be here in the fall in this building. We have no idea. We might be. We have no idea. We're not talking to anyone seriously. We're not like going to scout out places to rent from. We just might not be here. And so it's important, I say all that to say, a healthy church is a serving church. A healthy church is a serving church. And even though God sometimes, he gives us a promise, unfortunately, we don't one day wake up and have that promise answered to us. What God does sometimes is he says, I'm going to give you a promise, but I am going to put you through some things that you have to go through. Because in the end, when you've gone through all this stuff, then you'll be able to handle my promise. So like I said, we've been going through those steps, and we've so prayerfully been going through, God, what does that look like for us as a leadership? What does it look like for us as a body of believers? So there's current ministries right now going on in our church. There's a handful of them. Current ministries that some people, man, they're serving every week, like our worship team, man, they're here every single week. We have ministries that we're launching. We're launching a nursery and a preschool ministry very soon. Why? So we can properly serve the kids. You're like, oh, they're babies. No. We can properly serve them. So we can properly serve the parents in the proper context. So we're launching that. We're launching within the next month or so. But we have these other current ministries that are going on that people have stepped up. And man, if you're serving, I just thank you. Thank you so much. But what I want to encourage you to do is this. It's on the screen. And this is very self-explanatory. This is what Peter was trying to say. Guys, use your spiritual gifting, that heavenly empowerment, to serve other people around you. Because when that happens, I'm going to blow your mind. And I'm going to do things that you never thought could be done in this church, in your life, in Florida. It's time to shut the enemy out. Because I know for a fact, he's been feeding you lies. So many lies. Not even the ones we've been talking about, but he tries to feed you lies every day about everything. And about this, I know he has been working on you like he's just been hammering on you, listen, it's hypothetical, okay? Hey, it's optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Just under-prioritize. You got more important things to do in your life. Hey, it's personal. You don't have to do that in front of them. You don't have to do that for them. This is not what you need to do. It's time, guys. It's time to shut the enemy out of our mindset. We have to take this natural mindset, this natural world we've been put into, we have to live with a supernatural mindset and supernatural hope that one day God is going to do something so incredible. So, maybe you're saying, like, I really don't know where to start. I really don't know. Kyle, you've confused me. I don't know. How do I start this process? It's very simple. First, you pray. Just pray. God, if you've given me spiritual gifts, that's amazing. Can you show me what they are? Don't go online and Google spiritual gift tests. Don't do that. Pray and talk to God and have him reveal to you, like, this is what I've given you, and this is why. Because you're special, and I've given you this special gifting to use. So here it is. So just pray and seek. Seek. Look at what God is doing in your life every day, at work, at school, at home, and ask God, how can I use what you've given me to serve my family, my friends, my coworkers, my classmates, people who don't deserve it? And then within this body, ask God, where do you want me to plug in? Where do you want me to use my heavenly empowerment to serve others and serve you? And last, what's going to happen when you pray and you seek, you're going to find. And I didn't make that up. I got that from Jesus. He will show you. And some of you are going to be like, holy cow, I didn't even know. I didn't realize. Oh my gosh. So we've made this so simple. We're going to show you a couple lists on the screen here. This is just some ministries, some things that how God is working in our church. So we have audio, visual, and worship ministry, and we have different positions there or things that just ministries that we do within that heading. We have a guest services ministry, and I love this ministry so much. Because when people come in who don't know Jesus, who come from churches, them it hurts so badly, man, wouldn't it be amazing to be the first face they see as someone's like, I have this spiritual gift of serving and helping, and I want to be a smiling face and a loving heart for them to come and see. So we have a guest services ministry. We have children's ministry, and like I said, we're launching the babies' kingdom, and it's going to be at first, because of the space we have, it's going to be from infant to about 4 years old, and hopefully we can split those up as time goes on as we grow. But we have those ministries. Kids Kingdom, we have 3 teachers right now. We're looking for people to kind of step up and serve in the area. Pastor Andrew, our new youth pastor, he and Mercy are looking for occasional support sometimes. If they do special events, they're looking for some help with that. If you want to come in, maybe say, hey, I can give my testimony, I can guest speak. Or if you have an event, I can come and help, I can help support. Small groups, man, if you know that God has given you a gift of teaching and leading, facilitating, that would be amazing. Or if you're like, I know God's called me to teach, but I don't know how. We'd love to mentor you during those small groups. We would love for you to sit in with one of the leaders and for them to show you and guide you along that path for you to take a small group on your own one day. We have a lot of outreach and events that I know is going to be happening. Don't know when. I just know because that's something that God has given to us. So we have many different things that we can be involved with, and I just said support just because there are so many different things. But that's just a couple of lists that we have. So real quickly, I know I'm almost done. We have to realize, and this is important for you to understand, we have to understand and realize where talent and passion come from. When you look at someone on a sports field or someone in a financial field, or it doesn't matter what field they're in, you look at them, you're like, man, they just have a talent. Like, they didn't learn that. Well, where do you think it came from? It came from God. And we have so many people, not even believers, but so many people that don't know Jesus yet, and they're walking around with these talents, thinking they just were born great. But what happens was God gave you a talent to use for His kingdom and to use for other people. And when we have, now passions, kind of the same thing, but we have bad passions, we have good passions, but the good passions, those also come from the Holy Spirit. And when I utilize my heavenly gifts with your heavenly gifts, your talents, gifts, and passions correctly, you won't want to stop. Promise you. You're not going to want to stop when you figure out, oh my goodness, my talent, this thing that I've been holding on to, that I've been using every day in my life, at work, at school, just hanging around, that's a talent from God, and He can do something so powerful through me. Oh my goodness, you won't want to stop. How do I know that? I don't want to stop. Now, don't get me wrong, we're discouraged a lot. There are some times when I don't feel like doing what I've been called to do. There are times that all of you don't feel like what you've been called to do. But the passion from Jesus is still there, and it will never go out. So believe that you have these heavenly empowerments from God. Man, let's be good stewards of them. Let's manage them well. Let's put them to work for others. Sharing is caring. Words may change, but the message stays the same all throughout life. Sharing is caring. And here's why you need to do this. Now, I promise I'm not going to parse this verse out like I just did the last one, but this is Peter ends this paragraph here. He says, if anyone speaks, let it be as one who speaks God's word. If anyone serves, let it be from the strength God provides, so that God may be glorified through Jesus Christ in everything. To Him be the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen. It's never been about you. Never will be about you. It's never been about me. Thankfully, it's never going to be about me. It's all been about God and what He wants to do through you. This is right here. This is why Citrus Park Ministries exists, is the slide right here. This is what we're all about. I'm sorry, next one. That is what we're about. We are here to help people, help you, help other people that don't know Jesus to follow Him. That's why we exist. That's our heartbeat. And that is so important to grasp. Just imagine what God wants to do through this church body. Imagine what He wants to do through you individually at home, with your spouse, with your siblings, with your parents, with your coworkers. Imagine what He can do if you just say, God, just use me. Use me so I can use what you've given me. Imagine what he can do. So here's what is going to happen to close out today. We're going to have, and this is going to be a little different ending. We usually end a service, a gathering. Most churches do this. Most churches end a sermon with a song, right? And we do this kind of twofold, and I really didn't understand the second reason until this morning when I thought about it. But one of the reasons we're going to change it up this morning is to remind us, including me, including our worship team, that we don't close a service out with a song just because it's what we do. We close out a service with a song usually because we want to give you time to respond to what God is doing in your heart. And so Pastor Dave and I are always communicating throughout the week, and he probably thinks sometimes he doesn't think I'm pestering, but I think I'm pestering sometimes, like, what's your idea? Where are you driving? Where's God leading you to? Because we want the song really to kind of be parallel with what God is saying, so that when Pastor Dave ends, or whoever's speaking ends talking, we can appropriately end it, not just be like, all right, so it's football time in about 30 minutes. I checked the church off, and I'm good. We want us to be able to respond to Jesus because he's speaking to us. So that's the first reason. The second reason is I know that God has already been speaking to you. And part of that is because we've been praying for you, and God hears our prayers, and God works. We know that God has been speaking to you, and we know that he has been working in your heart. And so you probably know, some of you at least, you're like, yeah, I already know what it is. I already know what God's gifted me with. I know, for any reason. And I don't blame you. Listen, if you were to come up and tell me why, I'd be like, yeah, no wonder. No wonder you put family first, or no wonder you had to put that first. I get it. We get it. But what we want to do is, right before I pray, we're going to have some ministry leaders just stand in the back. And instead of ending with a song, we're going to end with a charge. And the ministry leaders are going to be back in the sanctuary ready with their phones. And they're going to be ready for you to come up to them if you feel that God is telling you to do this. Please don't do this out of guilt, because when you serve out of guilt, it's going to you're going to start up here and then you're going to go down. And God's like, why are you doing this out of guilt? But if God is really speaking to you, I just encourage you so much today to take that next step in your faith journey. Take that next step, say, you know what? I'll do it. I don't know what it's going to look like in my schedule. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of scared, but I'm going to do it because I want to serve, and I want to be where God wants me to be. So ministry leaders, if you want to just head back there right now. If you don't know yet, Pastor Mike is actually sending out an email right now to you, and you can have that throughout the day, throughout the week. Be praying. Like I said, if you don't know where to start, man, pray, 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 seek, and you will find. Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the heavenly empowerment that you've given us. God, for those of us who have taken it for granted, for those of us have used them with maybe improper motives sometimes, God, for those of us who just frankly, to be honest, just didn't want to, we thank you for your grace and for your mercy in that area because of your love for us. But God, right now, I just pray, and I continue to pray that you would continue to move in this church, but not only in this church, but just like the individual lives that are here. Everyone here matters to you so much. And you want to do something so amazing through them. And it's only through your strength and your power that we can do that. So we pray that you would strengthen us, allow us to tap into your strength, allow us to tap into your courage that you have given us as believers. And may we use the gifts you've given us as good stewards to manage your things well. We pray this in your name. Amen. God bless you guys.